Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director, for being here. Let's talk about that contempt for the rule of law. You know, Americans are willing to accept outcomes that they don't agree with. In contrast to your answer to Mr. Elsie, what they are not willing to accept, what I am not willing to accept, what the American people are not willing to tolerate, and what I am not willing to tolerate are when outcomes are influenced by actions of your agents. They are outraged, and so am I. So let's talk about FISA. In FISA Section 702, at the Senate Intelligence Committee's Worldwide Threats hearing in March, you noted that warrantless searches of Americans' communications in Section 702 data are down 93% year over year. FBI officials told the New York Times that the number is around 204,000 searches per year, compared to as many as 3.4 million in 2021. So let me ask you, did our national security threats drop 93%, or had the FBI been conducting millions of unnecessary warrantless searches of Americans' private communications?
Well, so first I would disagree with you that what was described in the report were warrantless searches of Americans' communications. 702 is a tool that is fully consistent with the Fourth Amendment, and the report in question does not find that the searches, the queries, were in violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
Else. So, but as to the other part of your question, the biggest chunk of the number of query terms, and again, each of these query terms are not individual people, but for instance, for one person, you know, multiple email addresses or something like that, were from helping to identify victims of cyber attacks. In particular, that year, an awful lot of the cyber attacks were coming from the Russians, but in some cases it would be the Chinese. And I think the safeguards, the procedures that we've built in have all led to a more surgical use of the authorities that we have, not necessarily eliminating queries that themselves were violative of any rules, but it does mean that the effect of all of the changes that we've put in place, I think, has brought, again, a more surgical approach to how our people run queries. And I think it's important for people to understand that these queries are running queries through information that is already lawfully collected. It's not unlike, everybody can relate to this, if you have your email inbox.
That's exactly what I want to talk to you about.
And you run a query to find out all emails from Congressman Cline, for example.
Okay, former NSA General Counsel Gerstle has been telling the press that the FBI can only do this if there's some foreign connection involved in the investigation, not just for some routine domestic crime. But when asked for clarification, the FBI released a statement saying that generally there must be some nexus to a foreign power or from some factual connection to international terrorism, espionage, or foreign computer intrusions for the FBI to run these searches for evidence of a crime. But the FBI's querying guidance that you released this week doesn't include this requirement. The guidance says that queries related in investigations related to crimes with a nexus to a foreign power or target of FISA collection or crimes that have a factual connection to international terrorism, espionage, or foreign computer intrusions are examples of situations that will tend to qualify. But nowhere does it say that such connections are required for these queries. Can you confirm that the FBI does not require analysts to have evidence of a nexus to a foreign power or foreign crime before searching Section 702 data for Americans' communications?
I think I would have to get, sorry, microphone. I think I would have to, in order to give you a comprehensive answer to that question, I would have to have our subject matter experts and lawyers follow back up with you, because I want to be, its precision here is very important. And I don't have the guidance in front of me, but I want to make sure that we give you the complete answer to your question. So I'm happy to follow up with you.
Well, don't you think that they should? And shouldn't Congress codify that nexus? That nexus requirement for these searches in order to protect Americans' Fourth Amendment rights?
I'm not going to get into individual legislative fixes here. I'm going to work with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the rest of the Intelligence Community and the Justice Department and with the Congress on potential adjustments, if any, to 702.
I'm also on Judiciary, so I look forward to that. I yield back.
Thank you.